Why is Los Angeles burning with protests while Donald Trump clings to a musical theater date night? What's driving the chaos in California, and how did a single decision from the White House spiral into a national crisis? The answers lie in a story of overreach, cowardice, and a country refusing to bow to fear. On June 12, 2025, America stands at a crossroads. In Los Angeles, peaceful protests against aggressive immigration and customs enforcement (ICE) raids have been met with tear gas, rubber bullets, and an unprecedented military response. President Donald Trump's decision to federalize 2,000 California National Guard troops and deploy 700 active-duty Marines to the city has ignited a firestorm of criticism, lawsuits, and global condemnation. While the Middle East teeters on the edge of war and economic policies falter, Trump's actions reveal a presidency unraveling under the weight of its own hubris. But the people, Angelenos, activists, and even local law enforcement are pushing back, unafraid and unyielding. The spark: ICE raids and protests in Los Angeles. It began with ICE's aggressive sweeps across Los Angeles County, targeting workplaces in the Fashion District and industrial parks. On June 6th, federal agents detained dozens, including a mother and her 3-year-old son, whose car was rammed by ICE vehicles in a chilling display of force. Protesters, chanting "Free them all," gathered outside federal detention centers, their voices rising against what they saw as racial profiling and dehumanization. The demonstrations were largely peaceful, as confirmed by the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, which issued a press release thanking organizers for their restraint. But Trump saw an opportunity. On June 7th, he signed a presidential memorandum federalizing 2,000 National Guard troops, bypassing California Governor Gavin Newsom's authority. The White House claimed the protests constituted a form of rebellion, justifying the deployment under Title 10 of the U.S. Code. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth escalated the rhetoric, warning that Marines at Camp Pendleton were on high alert and ready to join the fray. By June 9th, clashes intensified, with tear gas and flashbang grenades deployed against crowds in Paramount and Compton. A car burned, rocks were thrown, and the city's highways were blocked. The ACLU condemned the move as unnecessary, inflammatory, and an abuse of power, arguing it endangered Angelenos and violated democratic principles. California's lawsuit, filed on June 10th, alleges Trump's actions infringe on state sovereignty and drain resources needed for wildfires in San Bernardino. LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell echoed the sentiment, stating, "We were nowhere near needing the National Guard. This complicates our efforts to de-escalate." A presidency in disarray. Trump's distractions. As Los Angeles grappled with militarized streets, Trump was at the Kennedy Center, watching Les Misérables with Melania, awkwardly holding her thumb in a photo op that drew boos from the crowd. When pressed by Newsmax about escalating tensions in the Middle East, where Israel was poised to strike Iran and Iranian-backed militias threatened U.S. bases, Trump's response was incoherent. "It could be a dangerous place, we'll see what happens." His flippant dismissal of a potential regional war underscored a deeper truth. Trump's focus is on spectacle, not governance. On Les Misérables, he fumbled when asked if he identified with Jean Valjean or Javert, claiming he'd seen the musical a number of times but dodging the question. His claim that Los Angeles would be burning to the ground without his intervention was swiftly debunked by McDonnell, who clarified local forces had the situation under control before federal troops arrived. The Middle East, a void of leadership. The Middle East crisis amplifies Trump's failings. Reports indicate Iran has armed paramilitary groups in Iraq with ballistic missiles, preparing to target U.S. assets if Israel strikes. Iran's National Guard is on high alert, and Trump's response, vague assurances that they can't have a nuclear weapon, lack strategy or resolve. Pew Research's June 11th poll reveals global distrust in Trump, with 91% of Mexicans, 85% of Swedes, and 81% of Germans expressing no confidence in his leadership. This vacuum emboldens adversaries and alienates allies, leaving America vulnerable. Economic missteps, tariffs, and empty promises. At home, Trump's economic agenda is crumbling. His 90 deals in 90 days trade promise has yielded no binding agreements. A U.S. federal court blocked his sweeping tariffs on May 29th, ruling they exceeded his authority, a blow to his protectionist agenda. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent admitted on June 11th that the July 9th tariff deadline would likely be extended, signaling retreat. China, holding leverage with rare earth minerals, imposed a 6-month expiration on a trade consensus, exposing Trump's weak negotiating hand. The Wall Street Journal noted, Trump has no China trade strategy, as Beijing outmaneuvers Washington. A call for humanity. Amid this chaos, a biblical passage from Leviticus resonates. When an alien lives with you in your land, do not mistreat him, love him as yourself. Whether religious or not, this principle challenges the cruelty of ISIS tactics and Trump's militarized response. The protests in Los Angeles are not about lawlessness, but about dignity. Families torn apart, communities terrorized, and a nation grappling with its moral compass. Trump's actions reflected deeper fear, a country no longer cowed by his bluster. Governor Newsom's lawsuit, Mayor Karen Bass's defiance, and the LAPD's candor show a blue state standing firm. Protesters, undeterred by tear gas, embody resilience. Globally, nations reject Trump's leadership, and at home, his economic promises falter. His presidency, built on bravado, is unraveling as Americans refuse to be afraid. The path forward. This moment demands clarity. Housing affordability, healthcare for all, and fair wages should unite us, not divide us. Tax policies that favor billionaires over working families, like giving $424,000 in tax breaks to those earning $4.2 million while taking $1,000 from those earning under $50,000, are indefensible. Diversity is America's strength, and bullying marginalized communities, LGBTQ, trans, or minorities, weakens us all. As Democrats, we must champion humanity without hesitation. Los Angeles's protests are a reminder. The fight for justice is messy but vital. Trump's overreach has exposed his fragility, and our response, unafraid, united, and resolute, will define America's future. Subscribe, follow at Midas Touch on Instagram, and join the conversation. Let's build a nation where no one lives in fear.